Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're embarking on a massive inside-out journey into the ultimate guide to human behavior, social influence, and mindset mastery. We're going to start at the absolute micro level, deep inside the hidden software of our own minds, and then move outward to see how society shapes us, before wrapping up with a highly actionable framework for your own personal self-mastery.
But before we do, I gotta ask you, are you truly in control of your own behavior? It's kind of a loaded question, right? Every single day you make choices, you form judgments, and you pursue goals. But lurking just beneath those everyday choices is this hidden psychological software that's actually dictating a huge majority of what you do. Well, today, we're gonna crack that code.
So here's our roadmap. 1. Decoding your inner world. 2. Forces of social influence. 3. The psychology of attraction. 4. Rewiring for lasting change. And 5. Achieving mindset mastery. It's a big dive, but I promise it's going to be highly structured and super rewarding.
Okay, let's dive into this. Section 1. Decoding your inner world, navigating the hidden landscape of human emotions.
You know, the mind is a wildly complex place, full of these incredibly nuanced feelings we usually struggle to put into words. Just to prove how intricate our inner emotional world really is, think about these completely untranslatable emotions from around the globe, like saudade, a Portuguese word for this deep nostalgic longing for a distant person or place you might never see again, or Fernweh, a German term for longing for a place you've actually never even been to. Then you've got hygge, that Scandinavian mood of intense, perfect coziness, while the Dutch gezellig takes it a step further. It's the profound warmth of belonging in a room with people you absolutely love. We feel these complex emotions all the time, even when we don't literally have the vocabulary for them.
So with all that emotional complexity buzzing around, how does our brain actually make sense of the world? Well, it uses what psychologists call schema theory. I want you to think of your brain as a giant filing cabinet filled with mental index cards. Right from the moment you're born, your brain creates these schemas to organize information, rules, and memories so you can just intuitively navigate situations. But there's a trap here. While these schemas help us process things quickly, these mental shortcuts can accidentally create really rigid stereotypes, prejudices, and limiting beliefs. We get so used to our index cards that we often refuse to update them, even when new evidence is staring us right in the face.
And what happens when that new evidence completely clashes with our old index cards? Boom! We get cognitive dissonance. This is a state of intense mental discomfort that pops up when you hold two opposing beliefs, values, or actions at the exact same time. Have you ever felt this uncomfortable tension? A classic example is smoking. You deeply want to live a long, healthy life, but you might engage in a habit that you actively know is harming you. Our minds absolutely hate this inconsistency. The brain craves simplicity, so when you're forced to face this crossroads, the sheer discomfort often pushes people to rationalize the bad behavior just to relieve that mental pressure.
And this brilliantly illustrates how those internal conflicts spill over into our outer world. Section 2. Forces of social influence, how the outer world shapes your mind.
Basically, every single day, we act as amateur psychologists. We're always trying to figure out why people do what they do. This is called attribution theory, and it splits into two different paths. First is dispositional attribution, which is when we judge someone's behavior based on their internal character. Like if someone is crying on the subway, you might just assume they're an emotionally unstable person. But then there's situational attribution, where you judge behavior based on external factors or their environment. In that exact same subway scenario, you might assume, oh, they probably just received some terrible news. How we attribute these causes literally dictates how we treat the people around us.
Now, this urge to categorize people, it's not some modern political invention. It's an ancient survival mechanism. As the author Yuval Noah Harari points out, Homo sapiens evolved to think of people as divided into us and them. Back in ancient times, trusting your immediate group literally meant survival, while outsiders were seen as a direct threat to your limited resources.
And that evolutionary trait translates today into social identity theory. We have our in-group, the people we naturally identify with, whether that's through our profession, our hobbies, or our background. And that group gives us trust, validation, and a really profound sense of belonging. But the dark side of that is the out-group dynamic. Our deep, evolutionary need to belong inevitably sparks bias, suspicion, categorization, and conflict with anyone outside our immediate circle.
So what happens when that in-group mentality goes a little too far? You get this fascinating and honestly terrifying phenomenon called de-individualization. This is when crowd mentality completely takes over and individual morals just vanish. Poof, gone.
When we feel anonymous inside a massive group, our sense of personal responsibility drops off a cliff. It's exactly why seemingly normal everyday people can get swept up in riots or really toxic online mobs. Their individual identity gets temporarily and dangerously overwritten by the group.
Let's shift gears a bit to interpersonal dynamics. Section 3. The psychology of attraction, the hidden science of drawing people in.
Decades of psychological studies have pinpointed exactly what makes us attractive to others, and trust me, it goes way beyond just physical looks. It actually starts with natural confidence, not dominance or arrogance, just being totally comfortable in your own skin. That instantly puts others at ease. Then there's open-mindedness. People who are actually willing to hear other perspectives during debates are rated as far more attractive. Also, and this is kind of a fun one, caring for a puppy significantly increases your perceived trustworthiness. Speaking with a slightly deeper voice tends to subconsciously signal protection. Oh, and finally, there's the cheerleader effect, where taking photos with a solid group of friends provides social proof that you can form healthy connections, which literally makes you appear more attractive.
Now, what's really interesting about attraction is this concept called the misattribution of arousal. Sometimes the romantic attraction we feel is basically just a trick played by our environment. Let's say you take a date to a terrifying movie or a high-adrenaline roller coaster ride. Their heart is going to race, they're going to get butterflies in their stomach, and the brain can actually get confused. It might misinterpret that environmental adrenaline as romantic chemistry. So those butterflies you feel, they might just be fear of the roller coaster that your brain has completely mislabeled as true love. Crazy, right?
Okay, so knowing all this about our biases and dynamics, how do we actively change our deeply ingrained behaviors? Section 4. Rewiring for lasting change, the frameworks for behavioral adaptation.
To truly adapt, you absolutely cannot just rely on motivation. Motivation fades. You need a proven framework, like Kurt Lewin's change theory. It operates in 3 really distinct steps. Step 1 is unfreeze. You literally have to unlearn old beliefs, systematically dismantle your bad habits, and recognize exactly why your old schemas are failing you. Step 2 is change. This is the messy middle. It's where you communicate, execute your new plan, and adapt to the discomfort. And step 3 is refreeze. This is where you lock in those new habits through relentless consistency until they just become your new normal.
Psychologists generally agree there are 4 major catalysts that can kickstart this kind of deep personality change. 1. Enduring a major traumatic life event. 2. Massive chemical changes to the brain from drugs or hormones. 3. Gradual shifts over incredibly long periods of time. Or 4, and this is by far the most important one because it's the only one you fully control, an intense, proactive commitment to self-improvement.
And that proactive commitment ties directly into the astonishing power of the self-fulfilling prophecy. This is when a belief, even a false one, causes behaviors that ultimately make that initial belief become a reality. If you proactively commit and you truly believe you are capable of becoming a more organized, confident, or productive person, that belief actually triggers the real-world behaviors required to make it happen. Even if it feels like a total stretch at first, holding on to that belief forces your actions to align, ultimately making it a verified reality. You really do have the power to rewrite your own code.
So the crucial point is, how do we package all this psychological theory into a practical boot camp for success? Section 5. Achieving Mindset Mastery, the 4 pillars of self-development.
Decades of practical application all point toward 4 massive high-return pillars of personal development. First up is mindset. This is all about identifying and rewiring those limiting beliefs so you can essentially update your brain's software. Second is social skills, mastering things like reading body language and active listening to build deeply meaningful human connections. Third is productivity, utilizing psychological hacks like batching and the 80-20 rule to maximize your time and efficiency so you can actually enjoy your life. And fourth is persuasion, understanding human cognitive biases so you can navigate money, sales, and explosive career growth. When you optimize these 4 pillars, you become virtually unstoppable.
Before we wrap up, I want to leave you with one final, incredibly practical pro tip from that 4th pillar of persuasion. Studies show that simply adding the word "because" to a request drastically increases compliance, even if the reason you give isn't actually that strong. Our brains are just hardwired to look for reasons. Furthermore, there's the magnetic pull of information gaps. Creating a little bit of mystery or leaving a cliffhanger absolutely commands human attention, because our brains literally despise incomplete puzzles. Using these 2 simple tools can completely transform how you negotiate and communicate every single day.
We've journeyed all the way from our hidden, untranslatable emotions through the powerful biases of the crowds and right into the frameworks for mastering your own potential. So now that you have the ultimate guide to the hidden codes of human behavior, what will you change first? Thanks so much for exploring the mind with me today in this explainer, and keep learning.